From Washington, this is VOA News. Possible terrorist attack in London. The U.S. officially acknowledges drone strike killings. I'm Ray Kouguell reporting from Washington. British Prime Minister David Cameron says the brutal murder of a man in London Wednesday appears to be a terrorist attack. A man believed to be a British soldier was killed in broad daylight near the Royal Artillery Barracks in the Woolwich area of southeast London. Prime Minister Cameron called it an appalling crime.
People across Britain, people in every community, I believe, will utterly condemn this attack. We have had these sorts of attacks before in our country, and we never buckle in the face of them.
Prime Minister Cameron is cutting short his visit to France and returning to London. Armed police shot and wounded the two suspected attackers. One of them was seen carrying a blood-covered knife and making threatening statements. The U.S. Justice Department formally acknowledged that the United States killed 4 American citizens in drone strikes in Yemen and Pakistan since 2009. The official disclosure came Wednesday in a letter from the U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder to congressional leaders on the eve of a major national security speech by President Obama. The document confirms that among the 4 U.S. forces in 2011 deliberately killed Anwar al-Awlaki, the radical cleric born in the United States. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is calling on Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to make a commitment to find peace in his country. He spoke Wednesday prior to a meeting of the Friends of Syria group in Amman, Jordan, where delegates are making plans for next month's proposed international peace conference. Mr. Kerry says Mr. Assad risks increasing international support for his opponents if he does not agree to take part in those peace talks. VOA's Scott Stearns reports.
Kerry says governments backing the opposition in Syria condemn what he calls the destructive role of Lebanese Hezbollah militants fighting alongside government troops.
Active military support to the Assad regime simply exacerbates the sectarian tensions, and it perpetuates the regime's campaign of terror against its own people.
Kerry says Iran is contributing significantly to this violence by actively supporting thousands of Hezbollah fighters. While he says President Barack Obama does not intend to send U.S. troops to Syria, he's taken no options off the table with respect to what kind of support Washington might provide the opposition. Scott Stearns, VOA News, Amman.
The International Atomic Energy Agency says Iran's made a significant step toward building a reactor that Western experts say could provide a second path to possibly producing material for a nuclear bomb. The UN Nuclear Agency says Iran delivered the reactor vessel to the heavy water plant near the western city of Arak. Iran insists its nuclear ambitions are peaceful. Torbjörn Jagland, Secretary General of the Council of Europe, says the human rights body is concerned about Russia's law requiring non-governmental organizations to register as foreign agents. Jessica Golaher has details.
Torbjörn Jagland says that Europe will watch how the Kremlin implements a law that went in effect last November. The measure requires non-governmental organizations that receive foreign funding to register as foreign agents, a term that during Soviet times was synonymous with espionage. Golos, the country's only independent vote monitoring agency, has been fined nearly $10,000 for failing to register as a foreign agent. Since Russian President Vladimir Putin returned to the Kremlin for an unprecedented third term, he has faced large-scale protests. Mr. Putin has consistently maintained that the United States is funding the opposition. As a result, Russia's parliament quickly passed the new NGO law. Critics say the measure is meant to suppress dissent. Jessica Gallagher for VOA News, Moscow.
President Obama is planning a Sunday visit to Moore, Oklahoma. The city decimated by a powerful tornado that killed at least 24 people and flattened much of the community. Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano traveled Wednesday to Moore to assess recovery efforts.
I think big need now is debris removal, and we will be working with Oklahoma on supporting expedited debris removal. That will open up roads and streets, and then individual homeowners will be worked with so we can get that debris out of there.
Her department has teams helping with search and recovery operations, damage assessments, and federal aid to people affected by that tornado. I'm Ray Kouguell, VOA News. Details on these and other stories on our website, on the internet, at voanews.com.